people are craving connection. This is urgent. Who do you think is most at risk right now? Physical absence requires intentional design. You have to do a little bit more to create connection, specifically with remote workers.
Hey, change makers and visionaries. This is Reimagining Community, where we dive deep into the stories of leaders who are reshaping the world, one community at a time. I'm your host, Garland Fuller, and every episode is a radical act of connection. We're not just talking about change, we're breaking down how real people are creating it right here, right now. This podcast is more than conversations. It's a bridge where we are sharing stories that offer insight and inspiration. Whether you're an entrepreneur, consultant, volunteer, artist, or an organizational leader, this is your space to listen and learn. This is your call to create impact in the communities you hold dear and that hold you up. Let's reimagine what's possible together.
Hello. Welcome to the third Space Academy solo series, where we reimagine the places between home and work and the ones that hold our stories, spark our ideas, remind us we belong. I'm Garland Fuller, and today we are finishing up. This is the final episode of the solo series. For me, this has been, again, a labor of love, something I had on my release, something I wanted to try. And so having the opportunity to do these has been really quite interesting. Let's go back and take a look at what we explored over these 5 episodes. So first episode, we talked about loneliness, the epidemic that it is, how it is something that we are actively combating, and how third spaces can participate in creating community to not make people feel so lonely. We talked about hybrid work and remote work and balancing what that looks like. We also talked about green spaces and even my personal why. If you haven't listened to any of these episodes, I want to encourage you to go back and take a listen, because there's some yummy gems in there, and I really think that you need to listen to understand how we even got to this final episode. So what I loved about the loneliness episode is it showed us that people are craving connection. This is urgent. This is at a point of, I think, epidemic proportions. When you look at how loneliness shows up, it is, of course, anxiety and depression. We hear that all the time. But I also think it is a cry for help in terms of people saying, hey, even when I'm around people, I still feel lonely. That is a sign of a need for connection. And so I think that is huge. And again, if you listen to that episode, you'll hear about solutions and things that I share around why that is such a key part of third spaces. We talk about hybrid and remote. And what I think we revealed in that episode is that physical absence requires intentional design, and that just because you are remote doesn't mean you still feel connected, and you have to do a little bit more to create connection, specifically with remote workers. And then if you have hybrid folks, you need to ensure that when they are in office, that it is intentional time that they're spending to do something instead of just having them there. The third episode, one of my favorites, is outdoor and green spaces. This reminded me so much about my daily walks. I talk so much about nature and how it is not only the ultimate third space, but it's the ultimate emotional regulation system, because so much of what nature can do for us is to help calm us down and create some calm and peace and sometimes quiet in a very noisy and oftentimes overstimulating world. My why, if you haven't listened to episode 4, you may want to start there if you like a good story and want to know more about me and what has influenced my journey and why I enjoy doing this work, because I think each episode gives you a lens that can put a complete picture as to why Third Space Academy and creating and designing belonging is so important to me. Some of the takeaways when we look at my people, place, program framework, key takeaways from these episodes is that people need belonging more than convenience. We all have access to a phone and the internet, and it's very easy to jump on social media and say, I'm connected, I've got this, I've got that. But I think part of the loneliness is that people are not having real, true, deep connection. It is surface, it is superficial, it's polished, dare I say, not even real. And so people need belonging more than they do convenience. Place communicates more before you ever say a word. So if you're looking at when you step into a space, and in the course I do a lot what I call curiosity walks and scribble space. And it really is an opportunity to really take a look at what is your space and your place communicating, because sometimes we're not even seeing it anymore because we're so immune to it and we're just also too close to it. Thirdly, programs. I find that programs bring it all to life. Programs make it important. The rituals, the community agreements, the why. You create a program that really is intentional, if it's focused on connection and belonging and gathering people, it really can bring so much to life. And so what I have found is that third spaces work when all three are aligned. Your people, your place, and your program are aligned. It makes the world of difference. And so that's why Third Space Academy is going to help you to get that alignment. All right, now I'd like you to do some reflection, because I feel like we don't have all this information coming in if we're not also taking some time to write about it or think about it. And so this is your, I guess, preview of what a scribble space can look like in a podcast form. I'm going to have these prompts put up on the screen, and you can also find them in the show notes. So if you don't have time to do it right now, but at the end of this episode, I'm going to ask for you to take a moment to reflect. 1, who is your community? Who is in your community? Who is most at risk of loneliness right now? So if you have a group of people and you see there's a group or a specific audience or a particular demographic or a specific generation that is most at risk for loneliness, write that down. Who do you think is most at risk right now? The second question, how is your hybrid or digital space inviting deeper connection if you have one? And if you don't have a hybrid or digital space, why have you not thought about it? Or why do you think it won't work? This is not a right or wrong. This is not a you have to justify or not. It's simply a question. How can your hybrid or digital space invite deeper connection? All right, question 3. What role can nature or sensory design play in your gatherings? Again, if you listen to that episode, you'll hear a lot of things, but I would love to hear if you have incorporated outdoor or green space into your gatherings. All right. And then 4th question, what's your own why for building community? Why do you do this? Have you ever done a kind of internal reflection or just seen the threads of your own life to see what your why is? Because I know everybody has one. So what I know is that every one of us who builds space, whether we know it or not, the question we always have is, what are we building? And so I'm hoping that these prompts will help you get clearer on what you're building. All right. So I am going to start to wrap this up. I would love for you and challenge you to share this series with your favorite third space, with your friends, with your family members, people who you're like, gosh, this was very interesting to me. This whole series was actually pretty cool. She touched on everything. Please share. If you can put your reflection prompt in your notebook, of course, but if you would like to go on socials and share it, I am here for that. tag me in it because I just would love to see it. LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm also on Facebook. So just all of that information will be in the show notes. I would love for you to tag me if you feel so inspired to reflect on any of this and share. And then lastly, book me. If you are enjoying this series and you would love to bring this into your third space, I can guide your team through the People Place program framework, or I can specifically speak to some of these topics here and how we can bring them to life in your third space, with your organization, with your business, with your club, with your community. This is the work. This is the work that is going to change so much that we, I think, are experiencing right now. And because this isn't a luxury, I want to ensure that we are building the future that we want to see. While so many things around us may look despair or in some kind of disarray, we at the same time have the ability to build and create the spaces we want to see. And so I want to just embolden you, encourage you to create those spaces. And I am excited to see where this all goes. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the listen. Have a wonderful day. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
If this conversation moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because every week we're bringing you more stories of real transformation. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and tag the folks in your circle who need to hear this. Want to go deeper? Check out the Community Impact Collective. Sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description. Now is the time. Are you in?